Oh, hi there. You like the wings? I picked them up at a garage sale. Let me just get rid of this thing. Oh, sorry. You may be wondering who I am. Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Flick, the movie reviewing robot. I've downloaded and analyzed every movie known to mankind, all the winners, and even all the stinkers. Analyzing the stinkers has made me a little loopy, unfortunately. Speaking of, I was hoping that you'd join me today as I talk about the release of Captain America Brave New World. This movie has been all over any media coverage news in recent years and has gotten quite the reputation regarding its troubling production history. Given this, was it really as bad as everyone was expecting? Let's get into it and see, starting with the plot. The movie starts with President-elect Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross addressing the public over the celestial body that arose in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Him taking accountability for the Brooklyn fight between the Abomination and the Hulk many years ago, and his goal to bring the world together under his administration. Man, bringing up problems from 15 years ago. What is this guy? My wife? Meanwhile, Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, and his partner, Joaquin Torres, the new Falcon, kick down the door on a black market deal involving a mysterious canister. During the skirmish, Sidewinder, the head mercenary in charge of the deal, manages to escape. But luckily, Sam and Joaquin manage to stop the canister from getting away as well. Ooh, Giancarlo Esposito. He's a great actor. I can't wait to dive into his character throughout the movie. Shortly after, Sam and Joaquin visit Isaiah Bradley, a former, yet forgotten Captain America who was imprisoned and experimented on for decades. He's unhappy about Sam contacting Ross, but Sam convinces Isaiah to come with them to a White House party. Upon arrival, the now President Ross privately asks Sam to help him reignite the Avengers Initiative. Ooh, the Avengers! I remember them. I can't wait to see all my favorite characters again, like Steve Rogers. Tony Stark. No. Natasha? No. Vision? Wanda? T'Challa? Who's even on this team anymore? Anyway, Sam is of course skeptical as Ross was the one that disbanded the team with the Sokovia Accords back in the Civil War storyline. Mulling things over, Sam rejoins the crowd of people as Ross begins presenting on the canister and the Celestial, which contains a global supply of adamantium, a mineral even stronger than vibranium. The plan is to harness and distribute the mineral equitably throughout the nations. Suddenly, a strange song begins to play in the crowd, awakening a handful of sleeper agents, Isaiah being one of them. Isaiah attempts to shoot Ross, unsuccessfully. Chaos erupts and Isaiah is captured, leaving Sam desperate to figure out what's really going on with his friend. Ugh, did you even try giving him a Snickers bar? I hear humans are not themselves when they're hungry. As Sam attempts to... Whoa! Ugh, bounty shields. As I was saying, as Sam attempts to put the pieces together, he's attacked by Sidewinder. A battle ensues, but eventually he's knocked unconscious by Sam. It's then that Sam receives a traceable call that points them toward a guarded, underground prison in the middle of nowhere, referred to as Camp Echo 1. I'll just assume that this is the exact camp that Ernest goes to, so I am very excited. Also, stop trying to make Echo happen, Marvel! Sam and Joaquin go investigate the base, where they stumble into Samuel Stearns, a brilliant cellular biologist who was secretly held captive for years, forced to create weapons and technology for the US government. Ross had promised to pardon Stearns after he became president, but failed to keep his promise. Stearns, now known as the leader, wants revenge. A, shame on you for trusting anyone in Washington, and B, a government official promises her green friends something and doesn't follow through with it, causing them to become villainous and seek revenge, driving the entire plot. Haven't we seen this before, Marvel? Oh, I guess we haven't. Anyway, with the help of the leader sleeper agents, he seeks to pit the US and Japan against each other in a battle for the adamantium, hopeful to ignite a global war. A huge air battle breaks out near the Celestial, but Captain America and Falcon rush in just in time to stop things from getting worse. Ross is falling apart under the pressure. He's getting weaker. His anger is growing, and the leader is pushing him toward his breaking point. The leader is pushing guys to their breaking point? What is he? My what? Ow, that hurt. Ross reveals to Sam that his health is in decline and doesn't want to die before reuniting with his daughter, Betty. He held the leader captive because he needed life-saving pills from him, which we see him taking throughout the movie, only to find out shortly after that these pills intentionally contained massive amounts of gamma radiation. Gamma radiation pills? I'm almost certain that the leader bought these from the gas station down my road. After his initial plan gets thwarted, the leader makes one last bid to destroy Ross's legacy and any chance of him reuniting with his daughter. By exposing Ross's secrets during a public conference, Ross completely loses it, as he is now humiliated in front of the entire world. His body, overloaded with gamma radiation, finally snaps. He transforms into a Red Hulk and goes on a rampage in White House grounds. I mean, to be honest, I get it. Back in middle school, my old girlfriend went around and told everyone that I had a booger wall. I also freaked out. Sam attempts to physically stop him, but Ross is way too strong. After a while of trying to win with attacks, Sam instead appeals to Ross's emotions, reminding him of his love for his daughter. It actually works, and Ross calms down, turning him back to normal. Probably should have led with that, Sam. Oh wait, he did, before the battle even started, and it didn't work. But it's time for the story to wrap up now, I guess, so, okay. After the dust settles... Hey! What is this thing's deal? After the dust settles, Ross resigns as president and is sent to a high-security prison known as the Raft. Sam and Betty visit him, disproving the leader's plans one last time. Meanwhile, Isaiah Bradley is freed from prison, and Falcon, who was injured in the Celestial battle, wakes up in the hospital, as he and Sam share a lighthearted moment right before we roll credits. Credits roll to the Kendrick Lamar song I, solidifying his dominance over the month of February and Drake. Enter the post-credit scene. The leader is now locked up, and he vaguely hints that something even worse is coming. He questions if the Avengers will be ready to stop the others. I'm unsure which group is more vague at this point. Quote, the Avengers or, quote, the others. Which brings us to the end of our story. Before I give my thoughts, I would like to ask you to consider subscribing. As you can see, this is a new channel, and any amount of support will be helpful. More subscribers will translate into higher quality videos, cooler animations, and hopefully some better written jokes. Anyway, prior to release, Captain America Brave New World was becoming famous for its troubled production, and it definitely shows. There's tons of disjointed plots, questionable CGI, and underdeveloped characters riddled throughout this movie. I'll start with our main man, Sam Wilson. Unfortunately, he's just not a very interesting protagonist in my opinion. His uncertainty over his worthiness of holding the title Captain America feels like ground that we already covered in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I also couldn't really pinpoint any specific weaknesses in Sam, mainly because his powers in this one are basically that of Falcon, Captain America, Black Panther, and Iron Man. It's well stated in the movie that Sam is physically still a regular human without any super soldier serum, but the writing does not reflect that whatsoever. He accomplishes what should be absolutely impossible for a human body, and they just sort of hand wave it away like, oh, well, he has a vibranium suit now. But it's even without the suit. He literally gets stabbed directly in the chest by Sidewinder and does not react. Steve Rogers' abilities to throw, catch the shield, take a punch, throw a powerful punch, and take on numerous enemies at once were all based on him having the serum. Joaquin as our new Falcon is fine. The only things I can remember about him was being in the Air Force. He's been working with Sam for a few years, and he's conveniently handy with computers. Sidewinder was hilariously underutilized given the casting and kinda only existed for the sake of Marvel lip service and giving Sam some answers late in the story. Ruth Batsurath is here, sort of. She disappears from many chunks of the movie. Frankly, I'm a little unsure of why she was included to begin with or what she contributed to the story, other than reminding everyone that other Black Widows exist. The leader is a payoff from a setup that happened 15 years ago. At this point, most people can't even remember that the Incredible Hulk is canon to the MCU, let alone should they be expected to remember a throwaway character from it. His motivations for revenge are pretty straightforward, I guess, but we don't really know a single thing about him outside of that. Like, what exactly do you want after Ross is dealt with? He says he's smart and can foresee every possible outcome for any situation, yet did not account for Captain America foiling his plans and starting the war. His appearance is neither menacing nor even close to the comics, and he was just generally pretty underwhelming. I think my favorite character in the movie was President Ross. I'm always happy to see Harrison Ford on screen. On the surface, he seemed genuine enough about wanting to change and bridge the gaps between the different nations, but most of all, being motivated by wanting to mend his relationship with his daughter. Though, it's unfortunate that his drive still resulted in him doing some shady things behind the scenes in order to achieve those goals. Red Hulk was cool, but felt like a complete mismatch to square off against Sam, even with all his abilities. There's no possible way for Sam to overcome him without his one option being simply calm him down. But it was still fun to see him on screen. Funny enough, I actually thought that he was one of the better looking CGI aspects of the movie, despite everyone's reactions to the trailers. To me, the most obvious cases of CG were Sam's wings and many of the background environments. I'm happy that the celestial body is finally getting acknowledged in the story, but it seemed like the only thing they wanted to touch on is the fact that it contains a bunch of adamantium. So you're telling me that this thing didn't have any other noteworthy effects on the globe? Geology, culture, religions? I don't know. In short, Captain America Brave New World is definitely a below-average flick that's not really worth catching in the theaters. Even fans of the MCU are not likely going to get much out of this one. Save your precious time for something that's much higher quality, such as Ernest Goes to Camp. Review protocol has been executed. I'll await your next login.